The content and opinions shared on Talking Random Bitch are intended for entertainment and informational purposes. They reflect the personal views of the host and guests and do not constitute professional advice or represent any affiliated organization.
We're talking randomly. Talking random. We're talking randomly. Talking random.
Hey, let them ride on in. Because, well, we probably could have played them with that free, Nick. I can see they were dropping that free, Nick. We might have to bring us, we might have to find,
riding around with your mama speakers in the back of your truck.
Yes, sir. The whole, yes, sir.
Riding around with your mama speakers in the back of your trunk.
Southern Pay, let me put the speaker in the back. Yes, sir. Boy, we roll, boy. I ain't do nothing to us, son.
That's Black history.
Hey,
That's a black history.
I was in the first players ball. Yes, sir. That's Black history. Yes, sir. Y'all, welcome back. The Barbershop Talking Around the Mission. I am your master barber, Enrique Antonio. Alongside me, I got my guy, Black Blasted Future owner.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, for those that are, hadn't tuned in to the show in a while, the reason I am Black Blasted Future owner. So, it might be some new people to the show. Everybody don't know who Black Blasted is. So we had the people up in here for the trail ride that did the show.
Classic City Entertainment.
Classic City Entertainment, and I just got infatuated with a horse. And I'm the type of brother when I put my mind to something, I went and saw a man about a horse. And I went and laid eyes on Black Lassie, just a pretty black horse. And I had laid the plan out and got the land, everything, my partner over here, my ace in the hole, the first question he asked, what you ask me, sir?
How we gonna pay for it?
Oh, that wasn't the first question.
Where you gonna put it?
Where I'm gonna put it? I don't worry about that.
When
you get a car, you don't worry about if you got a garage.
But most places are made for cars. That's what my life.
I tried to. He's supposed to be my ace.
I am your ace.
You co-sign. I need encouragement.
Because that's the first question is wife ass.
Oh no, that was the first question. First question, my wife asked. Yeah, that.
How we gonna pay for it?
You know how much that gonna cost to feed that every day? That was the question. That was a statement.
That was the other question.
So I ain't worked all that out. She didn't say no. She ain't never say no. So we had worked everything out. I told her. She said we could do Black Lassie, but first she needed a new closet.
Oh.
Yeah. Black Lassie came with conditions.
Yes, sir.
And by the time I finished up the conditions, all my Black Lassie fund was low. It wasn't gone. It was just low. It was low. So right now I'm the future owner of Black Lassie. Come on, Black Lassie fund. I talked to a man about getting my hay.
But you building it back up.
Oh,
right
it's
now.
coming. It's coming. 2.5 years, I have my fund back up. I already talked to a man where since my partner was so worried about where he was going to stay.
Yeah.
I told him I'm zoned for that where I live.
Oh, right.
But I already talked to a man with a stable. I already got a place for him. And then I'm going to get with Halls, and we go on the weekend. When everybody at the pool in the golf carts, I'm at the pool with Black Lassie.
Yes, sir.
And then on the weekend, we're going to do the kids. We're going to do the hay rides. Black Lassie can pay for herself.
Yeah.
I've already got the game.
Yeah.
I already got the game laid out. So that's why I'm the future black owner.
Okay.
Owner of Black Lassie.
Yes,
But it's coming soon. Don't. And I told him
To a stable near you.
to a stable near you. See, he said it. He's a believer now. He's a believer.
I never said I didn't believe. I just had questions.
He did.
I just had questions.
He was right there.
I just had questions.
He had a few good questions.
You know?
But the timing was bad. When the enthusiasm is high, I need the questions to be low. That's all I'm saying.
I just asked.
Just remember that. When the enthusiasm is high, questions need to be low.
Hey, y'all, we back in the building. Man, we started this thing off with some pretty good hot conversation in the barbershop. But that's why him here.
Yes, sir.
That's why him is here, Professor Hip Hop, I like to call him. Because he is an educator.
Mm-hmm.
And I got him in here tonight to just educate us on Black history. Because believe it or not, as much as we say we are Black history, as much as we know we are Black history, a lot of us don't believe in our Black history. Someone else that's tried to tell us our story. So a lot of times we never got the truth, or we don't get the truth when someone else is telling our story. So we have to. So I am so blessed that we have a guy like Professor Hip Hop, Mr. Montu, to help tell our story. So and now I'm gonna just turn all the cameras on that way, and give it to that guy, Mr. Montu.
With these conversations, the place that I like to start, even though it's not like the greatest place to start, but I like to start this place, because we are in Black History Month. But why do we gotta get the shortest month of the year? Yeah, it's 28 days. Like, what's going on? They felt hit a little bit for that. But what you have to understand is we picked that month, right? Carter G. Woodson, and I think it was 1926. He picked that month, and first it started out with Black History Week, right? He just wanted to bring our history, highlight our history, and he picked that week. He picked that month within February because it was the same. It was the same month as President Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass' birthday and President Lincoln's birthday was, I think, they was within that week that he picked. So it was a week that we started out, and then eventually it turned into a month. So I always have to correct people when they get kind of like antsy or kind of like feel like they get hit because we got the shortest month of the year, but we actually picked that month, From there, I mean, we can talk about all kind of history. So the one thing that I love about my AP class, and I love what AP does, even though there's people with anti-racist theories and things that I am still teaching in the United States education system. So I could easily be at a private school or at a charter school that's, they probably ain't gonna pay what I'm making, but that's a whole nother issue. But at the same time, I do like what AP does. So where the class goes, and I'll say it real quick, just not to go too deep into it, but that class starts in ancient Africa. We start in ancient Africa. We talking about Egypt and Sudan and Nak and some of these great empires. And then we go on to talk about Ghana and the Sudanic empires, Mali. We talk about Mansa Musa, which is, by the way, even though, some people will argue it, but the richest man in history. So when I teach about Mansa Musa, the first thing I ask the kids is like, if I had to ask you who was the richest person ever, right? Like, name some names. They say Bezos. They talk about Zuckerberg. They say all these names. And I said, no. It was Mansa Musa. He is considered the richest man in history. He came from Mali. He came from the Sudanic Empire. So we go there. Then we start, talking about the Kingdom of Congo. Then we start talking about the transatlantic slave trade. Then we start talking about slavery in America. And then we go in to talk about, the civil rights movement. And we go all the way up to now, Afrofuturism and kind of what's going on today. So we cover a lot.
Let me ask you a quick question. When you first started doing this, did you get any pushback? Because when we were in school, the first thing we started hearing about was slavery, and so that kind of made us think you're going against what was taught, and you're telling the truth about our history, and not bringing it from where they would want you to think we came from.
So I'll say the class got pushed back. The AP class, I mean, because you're talking about Florida didn't want to teach it,
Yes.
Arkansas didn't want to teach it, South Carolina didn't want to teach it. They created all these, like, what they call anti-woke laws. They didn't want to teach it, so now it was not taught in these states, right? Even certain parts of Georgia, but because we live in Athens, Georgia, and I love Athens, Georgia, but it's a blue bubble. So I didn't get personally any from the school district or other fellow educators or anything like that, because we live in this blue bubble, it was sort of like, okay, here's the ball, run with it. Like, we know what you do. You got your African American Studies degree from UGA. So you say what you want. He's a University of Georgia graduate. They graduated with an African American Studies degree. Okay. Here's the ball, run with it. So personally, I didn't get any pushback, but the class actually did. Okay. You know what I mean? The class around the country did, because you have Florida being Florida. Yes. You have South Carolina being South Carolina. You had Arkansas being Arkansas. And then, now years later, a lot of people are teaching it around the country, and it's become a thing, although on the West Coast they've been doing it. Now we're starting to teach the ethnic studies and African American studies, although we are in our blue bubble. And I'm not saying, and I have to caution people to kind of, when we're in our blue bubble, sometimes we get on this this kick that we think, oh, well, great, these things are being taught, like, talking to y'all like y'all Cedar grads, and like, oh, we're finally here kind of thing. But like, we have to remember we're in Athens, Georgia, which is a blue bubble, which is a democratic city, which is, they kind of allow those kind of things. But like, you go to White County, you go to Hall County, you go to these other counties, they're just not allowing it to be taught. And if it is being taught, it is watered down, right? And that's one of the things that I appreciate about AP and how I teach it, because I wouldn't teach this class if AP said, let's start at the transatlantic slave trade. I'd have to, like, I would just go out, and I do it all the time. I would just buck and teach about, like, ancient Africa, because I need you to know the reason why they came and got us from Africa was because we knew how to grow rice, because we knew how to do things with gold, because we knew how to do all these great things. They weren't just willy-nilly going to Africa and, like, snatching up, like, warriors and saying, okay, you go out to the cotton fields. No. They specifically targeted West Africa because I can get me some slaves in West Africa that are already growing rice, been growing rice for centuries. Now you come to St. Simon Island and grow that rice. I don't even got to teach you. You can just grow this. So you have a specific skill set. You have a specific skill set that can, like, now allow me to make a lot of money off your skill set. Now you know how to work with gold. You know how to you know how to break these horses. Because the Malian pirate horses. You know how to do all these things, so I don't have to. So the misconception is, like, we were just, like, in the cotton fields, and, like, we were just, like, just working. Like, I don't need you to do nothing but just go pick that cotton. No, there was so many ways, like, anything in society that was supposed to be done, we had a skill set to do that, whether that was grow rice, whether that was to take care of animals, whether that was to do agriculture a certain way. We was able to do that without them having to teach anything. They specifically bought us on the slave rolls. Like, when you have these where they advertised about slaves, it would have it on there like from West Africa, and they already knew, depending on what part of West Africa. Oh, he knew how to grow rice. I want him. Oh, agriculture. I want him. So it wasn't just these warriors that they just grabbed from West Africa to go pick cotton. You know what I'm saying? On top of that, now add this to it. A lot of people get confused because they think, most of the slaves that came straight from Africa, there weren't a lot. There was only about 388,000 is what they say, about 400,000 that came straight from Africa. That's not a lot compared to Brazil. Brazil had 4 million. Haiti had about 2 million. So most of the slaves that actually came straight from Africa did not come to America. We had very, very limited. It was very limited the amount of slaves that actually came straight from Africa to America. It was not a lot. Where the population grew is, you're talking about population growth. So now they're having babies. Now they're having these breeding farms. So that's where we grew into what we are today. But they get confused because they think, when you talk about transatlantic slave trade, there's all these ships coming from Africa. It really wasn't, though. It was really strategic. That white man was really strategic with what he did. And then once it got outlawed in, 1808, then he was like, okay, y'all don't want me to bring no more in? We'll just have them here. You know what I'm saying? We'll just have them here. And then it just exponentially just grew and grew and grew, and that's where it became a thing. You know what I'm saying? And there's so many caveats to that. You're also talking about the Native Americans that was already here. Mm-hmm. You're already talking about the Moors that came in. There was a lot of caveats that's in that system that created where we are today. And on top of that, because of where we came from, we created what is now considered black culture in America, right? Mm-hmm. So you're bringing in voodoo. Here's a fun fact. I almost want to ask you this, but I'm not going to ask you. I'm just going to tell you this because I don't even want to go into that whole thing. 50% of the slaves, we're talking about, so think about this, 400,000 of the slaves, 388 is what they say, but I always round it up to with my students because they don't really know the real number. So I say about 400,000 slaves that came, biggest ports, 90% of the slaves came through Charleston. Mm-hmm. The other ones came through Savannah. Mm-hmm. Then the other ones came through the Chesapeake Bay. Those were the 3 biggest slave ports. And then we can't forget about New Orleans too. Right? So they came through that. But when they came through that, we weren't, not only were we charged and ready because we knew what we were doing, but they didn't really know what to do. I talk about the white man. They didn't know what to do because, like, when a slave came, that's why you watch Roots, right? And they say they always talk about this the African that came, Kunta Kinte came. People are like, why are they talking about him like Africa? Didn't we all come from Africa? Most of them slaves that was on that plantation was born there. They were born there. So when you get this wild African, that come in, he was different because he's coming straight in. Mm-hmm. So we now created where it was a culture. So now we created culture. We brought in voodoo. We brought in, so this is the point I was going to go, I had to circle back and remember what I was saying. 50% of the slaves that came in, 25% of them was already Christian. 50%, so we're talking about 200,000 out of the 400,000 that came to these shores were already religious. So when people tell me, the white man shoving this white man religion down our throat, stop, hold on, let me correct you. I get where you're saying and I get where you're going, but 50% of us, 25% of us that came was already Christian. 25% of us that came was already Muslim. So 50% of us was already religious when we came here. So not only did we bring that, then we brought in from West Africa, we brought in our voodoo, which is a certified religion, and people need to stop acting like it's it's like not in the major religions. Like they like to say, you know, Judaism, and you know, they like to say the Muslims, and they can say Christian, but they never add voodoo in there because voodoo is a certified religion. So you need to make sure when you talk about all of the major religions, you got to talk about voodoo. But anyways, so when we brought that in, we brought all. Not only did we bring religion in, now we're going to create our culture. You know what I'm saying? Now we're going to create our culture. What does our culture mean? Now I'm bringing food from Africa and the way we cook it. Now I'm going to bring in dance from Africa and the way we used to dance. Now I'm going to bring in call and response. When I say hip, you say hop. That's Africa. You know what I'm saying? Call and response. Now I'm going to bring in all these things that now created jazz, now created blues, now created spirituals. So we created this black culture in our country that was right there. It was the epicenter of what we now call black culture. And we brought it all from Africa. We brought it from the Caribbean. We brought it from all these places we went. And now, like, that's why black culture is so vital. You know, you realize that there was no the first American-born music. I ain't talking about this classical music. I'm talking about this European music that they brought in. And American-born music was jazz. I'm talking about born. And from jazz, now you got blues, and we can do the family tree if you want, because then from there we get hip hop, we get all kinds of stuff. So everything that is the genesis of what you can call like real music culture, what you can call real culture, comes from us. And that is, to me, is why I think a lot of times whoever you're talking about, you can talk about our current president, you can talk about some of these politicians, you can talk about these white supremacists. That's why they try to stop that, because they don't never want their kids to realize everything you do, from your music, from your religion, to everything you do, the way you do it, comes from black people. If white children actually realize my roots and everything that I believe in and everything that I do come from black people, they wouldn't hate us. My roots, how can I hate my roots?
Yeah.
So they want to cut that off. They want to stop me teaching what I teach. They want to stop people believing in voodoo. They want to stop people believing in all these things because they don't really want to go back to the source. You know what I'm saying? They say make America great. When was it great? You know what I'm saying? When was it great?
That's my question.
You know what I'm saying?
That's my question.
So there's a lot of things I can say, but the one thing that I like to say in these conversations is, especially amongst black people, is to let them know that, like, go back and study your roots. I don't care what that means to you. That might mean family roots. That might mean religious roots, right? If you're a Christian, if you're a Muslim, whatever it is, I want you to just study your roots so you can actually understand what you're doing, and you're not just that. People say, oh, the white man's religion was stuffed in down our throats and all this, right? And it was, because they made what was called the slave Bible, where they took all the passages out. They literally printed up a Bible that was called the slave Bible, and they took all the passages out that talked about rebellions and slaves getting free, and it was all about obey your master and all these things, right? So that book absolutely was shoved down our throat. But that's why I want you to go beyond that. That's why I want you to study the Coptic Christians in Ethiopia, and the only empire ever that was never conquered, was never colonized, ever. But also, they chose to be Christians. The Christian Crusades went around the world and was making people be Christians. The Ethiopians said, we want to be Christians. So that's why I really challenge Christians. If you're a Christian, go back to your roots. I'm talking about go study Coptic Christianity. I'm talking about go to Ethiopia. Or if you can't go, like now with how we have the internet now, like you can basically go without going. You know, you can go to Lalabella and see that these great Christian churches was carved out of stone over 10, 20 years out from one man. And he was a Christian. Yeah. Like they chose to be Christians. right? But then that filtered out and it went in and it was all these things, you know what I'm saying? And then, you know, the Portuguese brought in Catholicism into the kingdom of Congo. So then we converted there. We really didn't convert there because if you get the kingdom of Congo and the Christianity that they really like praise, it was really like a mix of voodoo and Christianity, right? So all the things we do now, catching the Holy Ghost, that's voodoo. You know what I'm saying? That's straight voodoo. That's what we do. That's what we do. And it's funny because I'll say to my students, right, I'll say E5. And in Athens, like, I don't know if y'all know, but like, there's a lot of E5 people in Athens, and it's became like not a gang, but kind of like a thing where people don't understand it. So it's like you have all these E5 brothers, they wear the beads and all that. That's voodoo. That's voodoo. That is voodoo. And I want people to understand it, like, quit looking at voodoo like it's like this negative, evil connotation. They did that because the only country that was ever taken over and founded by slaves was Haiti.
Yes.
Was Haiti.
Yeah.
You know how they did that? There was a big voodoo ceremony right before they started the Haitian Revolution. I'm talking about all of them Maroons, all them people in the hills. They all got together, got all hyped up, caught the Holy Ghost, and went and killed everybody and took over their country. But then now you ask yourself, look at voodoo today. Look at Haiti today. What's Haiti today? Only country in this hemisphere that's ever been founded by slaves. Look at it today. That's a reason why. You know, Toussaint Louverture, like, he be rolling over his grave. He found out that this was like this. But we don't support Haiti. We'll talk about Israel and Palestine and all these other places. We'll be putting the Palestine flag on our Facebook and talking about how it all. And don't get me wrong, them places got their thing, but like, you ain't supporting Haiti. That's your roots.
Well,
you ain't supporting Jamaica.
Well, they dirty the name of Haiti because they try to what they say is a evil country
because of voodoo.
Because of voodoo.
Yeah.
So they have misconstrued
Absolutely
what Haiti is and what it should be to us. So because I absolutely promise you, I didn't know nothing about Haiti till I got out of high school.
That's right.
I mean, you heard, I can't pronounce his name.
Toussaint.
Yes.
Yep.
You heard his name in the faint.
Right.
But you never got the story.
That's right.
We didn't get that story until you got out.
That's
until
right.
You got to college and you got some homeboys who might have been Muslim, or you got some that was part of
pro-black or
part of that.
Afro. Yeah.
And so what is one of the biggest questions that you get at the beginning of your class that at the end of the class it's like, oh, okay, now we understand it?
So the first thing the kids always want to know about is slavery, because that's where it all starts. In their eyes, that's where it all starts, right? But I'm gonna be honest with you, on the sidebar note of it, this is the one question that I get that like drives me, and I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. It is my duty. Why have I not learned this until now? I'm in 12th grade. I went through 12 years of school, 13 if you call it pre-K. I went through all this school. Why am I just now learning this now? You know what I'm saying? So that's probably the biggest question I get. I said, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you, in this class, I'm going to tell you why you didn't learn it before, but I'm going to teach you this so you go out in the world and you be a doctor, you be a lawyer, you be a truck driver, you be an electrician, you be a plumber, and whatever that is, you at least have a sense of yourself. You at least are anchored in black, in us. So I don't care what you do. I don't care. You don't even have to. I'm an African American studies. I hold a degree in that. This is what I do. I studied every day. I go down rabbit holes of just reading journals from white men that had slave ships. I do that. It's for me to do, but what is for you to do is whatever you do is you make sure you do it and you're anchored in that. I don't care if you're a Christian. I don't care if you're a Muslim. I don't care if you're EFI. I don't care if you're a electrician. I don't care whatever that is. You make sure you anchor yourself in blackness, because blackness is great. It's black excellence, and I don't want I don't want them to ever think that like they're secondary to anybody. This world follows Africa. This world has always followed Africa. So do not be putting this white man even in your subconscious on this pedestal. You know what I'm saying? Don't ever think like you better not look at that, Leonardo da Vinci form of Jesus. That that made Jesus, and now you're praying to this white God. God should look like you. If God created himself in the likeness, what do you look like? So that's all that I want these kids to do that I teach. I just want them to be, and on a sidebar, I tell the same thing to my Hispanic children. You know what I'm saying? Same thing to my white children. Because I blow their mind. I know I blow their minds when I play a specific video that shows them that like everything came out of Africa. So I know these white kids be in there sweating balls. I know they be in there antsy in they seats.
So what's their number one question for you?
They really don't have questions. I'm gonna be honest with you. Most of my white students that I have, they sit back and listen.
Okay.
I have to almost force them to like get into conversations because a lot of them feel like they can't be in the conversation. So what I do is I make my classroom such a safe space that I want you to ask all those questions that's in your mind that you've always wanted to ask about black people. Please ask that. Yeah, but I don't want to say the wrong thing. They'll get to saying, they'll get to talking. They'll be like, hold on, I want to say this a certain way. I said, no, do not say it a certain way. I want you to say it how it's in your head right now. You're not wrong. You're not going to be racist. You're not going to. Right now, this is a safe space. I want you to ask that question.
Yeah.
And when they're able to ask them questions, and then by the end of the semester, it's like, I can just ask questions about blackness and understand it on a level that I've never understood it. They can take that home. Because their parents don't know that. And the Hispanic kids can take that home and understand that, like, most of y'all, I hate to bust your bubble. You black. You black. Because I can break down Brazil. I can break down a lot of these South American countries. You got a lot of black blood in you. We came there too. Yes, and then you could just see their minds just being blown. It's like, oh my God. But then they also understand why they have this, like, they're drawn to certain things. They understand. That's the African blood in you. That's why you drawn to my music. That's why you drawn to my culture. That's why you really, even though your parents might say one thing, you love black people because you are black. You got some black in you. Most of the slaves that went to, I came straight from Africa and went to Brazil because it was the shortest trip, plus it was Portugal. Portuguese was the biggest enslavers, but most of them went there, right? You're talking about 4 million slaves went there because they were just plugging and playing. They didn't believe in how America believed in sort of kind of taking care of their slaves, feeding them good, clothing them good. I at least don't want my investment to be lost. Brazil? I'm going to work you to death. You might live 2 to 6 years. Maybe. Because when you die, I'll just go get some more. So now, you look at Brazil. And you go look at some Brazilians.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Go look at some Brazilians. They darker than me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Go look at the people in all those areas. That ain't nothing but Africa right there. But what they do is, and what Brazil did, because Brazil was really strategic, they literally take all that out of their history books. They took it out of their thought process. They took it out of everything. There's Brazilians that didn't realize they were black until they were like 27. We watched a video the other day. Matter of fact, we're in our Brazilian unit. One woman was talking about she didn't even know she was black until she was 27. One woman didn't know she was black until she got to college. One child, the mom would cut off his hair. He had short hair his whole life. Because he never knew he had kinky hair. He didn't know he had kinky hair. Because he never had long hair. It never was able to grow out.
Yeah.
So now when I see these young boys growing out their dreads and getting this kinky and being all unkempt, and having, you know, I mean, yeah, I know we can talk about that and whatever, but and like he won't comb his hair. Good. I want him to, even if he eventually cuts it and gets a fade. I want him at some point in his life to have that phase in his life where that kinky hair came out of his skull and it was nappy, and know that like this is black as it gets. You know what I'm saying? I want that. You know what I'm saying? I want that for these children. So when I see them, you know, growing their wicks and doing their dread thing, I'm like, I'm in the back like shouting like, hell yeah, let's go.
You see that smile on my face,
You know what I'm
right?
saying?
If she can dread up everybody,
Let's go.
This is what our hair do.
Let's go. That's our
Leave it
heritage.
alone. This is what it do.
That's our heritage. So,
Yes, sir.
you know, that is the main thing that I want. I just want to make sure that our children are anchored in blackness. And we can talk, you know, we can talk about words and like what it means to be black, or calling ourselves black, or calling ourselves Negro. We went through all these, and now we're African American. We can, those are conversations we can have, and I'm okay with having those conversations, as long as we have them conversations. We're having an adult conversation about them, and we're not like bringing in feelings, but we're just talking about facts and these things. I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? Because I tell the kids all the time, you're gonna hear me say African American, but I don't call myself African American.
well, since we there, let's talk, because how do you feel about it? Because I'm gonna tell you how I feel about it.
And Jesse Jackson just died, and he's the one that got us to call ourselves African American.
Yeah. My boy Smokey Robinson did a poem back in the day, and when I find it, I'm gonna send it to you.
Mm-hmm.
But it was about this thing, this exact thing. And once I heard that poem, it solidified what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in America.
That's right.
I earned the right to be in America.
That's right.
I'm not African American.
That's right.
Now, I know every few years what we are changes.
That's right.
When I was born, I'm sure I was probably either getting through being colored or somewhere around the colored Negro area.
Yep.
But I'm black. I'm black. I identify as a black American. Possibly of African descent.
That's right.
Now, what I believe an African American is someone who was born and raised in Africa and has came over here and have become an African American.
You're talking.
So that's my opinion.
That's right.
That's what I believe it to be, and I want it to be. I want to be. I don't want to be identified as an African because I have not spent a day in Africa.
That's right.
Now I respect and want to learn all that stuff, and if I am a descendant from Africa, I want to know that. But I also reserve in my mind that I may or not be. I may not be.
That's right.
Because a lot of us got that engine in our blood.
That's right.
Well, what they call engine, that Native American in our
That's
blood.
right. That's right.
And so, how do you feel when that conversation? How do you handle that?
So I have that conversation, and I tell them that like I identify as black, and I identify as black because I'm a Pan-Africanist, and I mean I just so there that is a universal term that I can say whether I'm in Brazil, whether I'm in Haiti, whether I'm in Africa, whether I'm in Minnesota, whether I'm wherever, that like it's an anchor that I like. It's blackness, right? Now, if we want to have the conversation about like what is an African American, what's a Negro, and all that, we can have that. So Jesse Jackson, you know, what was that?
God bless him.
God bless Jesse.
God bless him.
But he's
For
the
his
one
family.
that kind of coined that term and kind of made it a thing. And the rationale that you just said is what makes sense to me. And I get people that call themselves African American because if we get to the roots of it, yes, probably have African blood in me. So yes, I need to. That's a way for us to maybe look back, and yeah, I think it's more political than it is like anything else. But like, I'm black, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's a universal term that means more than just being an American.
Yes.
It means more than just all that. Now, can we talk about being an American? Because I can just say I can throw all the terms out and just say I'm an American.
Yes.
Because my daddy fought in the Vietnam War. You know what I'm saying? My daddy fought in the Korean War. You know what I'm saying? So my daddy fought for this country. I have have roots in this country. I helped build this country.
Absolutely.
So I'm more American than a lot of these. I shouldn't say that, but I'm more American than a lot of these white folks that came in a couple generations ago. I'm more American than you are, but I don't want to get into that argument because we're both American. But at the same time, I'm an American, so we can have the racialized conversation, and I'm okay with that because I think we have to. We can't be colorblind because being colorblind is being ignorant. Because we obviously are racialized. I didn't create this world. It is what it is, and we now deal with race on a certain level. I wish we didn't. It's just like the Constitution. I wish we dealt with the Constitution in its purest form, but we don't. So let's at least have those intelligent conversations, right? Absolutely. Let's at least, like, as adults, be able to, like, let me walk you through this, right? I mean, I'm a historian, right? And that's why I can always understand people when you're either going to do one or two things. You're either going to have an emotional conversation with me, which means I'm probably halfway listening to you and I'm just waiting for my exit to walk away.
Yeah.
Because you're just having an emotional conversation. You really don't want to have it. Or there's people who really want to learn. And I studied these things. Like I went deep dived into these rabbit holes of like what it means. So if you want to have that conversation with a historian that can help anchor yourself in this blackness, let's have it. You know what I'm saying? But that's why I have no problem with people who call themselves all kinds of different things. Even people who just say I'm just an American, right? Because as the black community, like, we're not a monolith.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like, and I get why people like throw out the black card and stuff. It's fun. It's TikTok kind of stuff. Like, I have my black card, and because you haven't seen these movies or because you don't eat things a certain way, you're not black. It's fun to have that conversation, but we're not a monolith, right? I mean, what I grew up eating and the way I did is not the way y'all did because y'all was in the South. It's not the way the black people on the West Coast did, not the way that the East Coast people did. We talk different. We walk different. It's a whole thing. So we're not a monolith. So at the same time, when you self-identify, like now, I can be like, what's up, black man? And if you tell me, like, you know what, I don't go by black, I go African-American. That's what you want to go by?
Yes, sir.
From now on, I will call you an African-American. But I want you to know, I'm going to call myself black. So now once we self-identify and understand each other, now we can have those conversations, and we don't have to get involved in these emotional conversations about what it means to be black, and you have to do certain things, and you can't listen to certain music, and you have to I'm gonna take your black card if you ain't seen Boys in the Hood, and you know what I mean, like those kind of things. That stuff's fun to have, but if we're gonna have a real conversation, once we get past the fun, then we can go here. You can teach your kids. Now I want you to teach your kids to be anchored in blackness, and once you're anchored in blackness, then you can understand like where your roots come from. You can understand that now, just like these white folks do, you can walk around this country with your chest poked out. Because,
which you should do anyway.
Yes, which you should do anyways. Chest poked out, because now you created culture in this country. This country would not even have culture if it wasn't for black people. This country would not even be built if it wasn't for black people. This country wouldn't have so many things if it wasn't for black people. So the fact that you would at any level like disregard that, then now you're a white supremacist, and you're not doing it because of facts. You're not doing it because I gave you the receipts. You're not doing it because like it's real. You're doing it just because you hate me. You know what? If you hate me, you can hate me. That's fine. I got all kinds of haters. It is what it is. Hate me because of that. But when I break this thing down for you, I'm about to shake your world up. I will talk to a white supremacist and a Trumper in a minute, and I'll let them know, like, we can have this conversation, but I'm about to completely shake your world up. I'm gonna have you Googling stuff when you get home, and you're gonna think I'm lying.
Well, see,
and when you Google it and you realize, damn, he was telling the truth.
But a lot of them, the craziness about that is, a lot of them know the truth.
Sure.
A lot of them, a lot of the ones that's trying to erase the truth know the truth.
That's white supremacy.
And so, but that's why I tell people at Talking Around the Mish, no conversation is taboo.
That's right.
I want to have all the conversations in this barbershop.
That's right.
I would love to have a
white supremacist.
supremacist
Yep.
and a pro-black girl
That's right.
have a conversation.
Uh-huh.
It's not going to be a rap battle.
Right.
It's going to be a conversation. I'm still trying to have a conversation between a Jewish American and the black community,
No doubt.
because there's a lot of beef and a lot of unnecessary beef there, but it's kind of necessary.
Right.
Let's have that conversation. I want to have the conversation between our brown brothers and us,
Absolutely.
because that way we can understand that we are so much more alike than we are different. Our differences are minuscule. So I'm open for all of it, and that's why, that's why I love where I'm from. I love the Classic City,
That's right.
because
You should.
at any given time we all together.
That's right.
We are all in the community together. So why are we afraid to still have these conversations when these conversations need to be had? Because they are only going to make us all a better person,
It is.
a better human.
It is. And you're open-minded and kind enough to do that, but like there's a lot of people that like so you can imagine, and I tell this to my students all the time, right? Because I put it in terms that they can understand, right? So let's just say you grew up believing in Santa Claus, right? You grew up believing in the Tooth Fairy. Like you truly, not halfway, in your heart's and heart, you really believed that there was someone on Christmas Day that came and gave you these gifts. You really believed that there was a fairy that came and took your tooth and put money on it, like not even halfway. Like you believed it. And somebody comes and shakes up your world. They do not want their world shaking up. They want to still believe in Santa Claus. They still want to believe in the Tooth Fairy. Takes them a little bit of time. And some of them might take a little bit of time, but some of them like, you know what? Man, forget that. I'm believing in Santa Claus the rest of my life, even though I know it's not true.
And you have
know
that
what I'm
option.
saying? And you have that option.
have that
So that's where you have those people where you can't really have conversations with those kind of people,
Yes.
right? Like you can, like if it's a white supremacist or it's a Republican on certain levels, if it's these people, some of them you can have a conversation with because they're at least willing to have that conversation.
Yes.
But then there's some of them with this cognitive dissonance where they just like, their world cannot be shooken up.
And I get that. And
You know what I'm saying?
and for those people, you have the right to be who you are. But don't infringe on
Absolutely.
someone else's rights.
Absolutely.
And that to me is what this thing is all about. Because like I say, this platform is for those that have the open mind that are willing to. Because I'm willing.
That's why it's so important.
And that's why I'm willing. And that's why every week, if God is willing, we're going to be here
That's right.
to have these conversations.
And I appreciate you for that. Like I think that's why this platform is so important, right? Is because you're having all the conversations. You're having the easy conversations. You're having the hard conversations. You're having the in-between conversations. And that's why I appreciate this. Like you're willing to, you're invited. You tell me the time, like, okay, I want to, what Thursday you want to come?
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? And
That's it.
And that's why I appreciate what you do here, and because it's anchored in such a duty to make us better as humans.
Absolutely. It's for my community. Our job here is to inform our community.
That's right.
So that they can make the best decision about whatever it is. So, but I want to once again let you know that you are appreciated, and the service that you give to our kids. I thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I thank you for showing up in the barbershop this evening, for giving us this class, this education that we all needed. And Larry, you got anything?
Oh, I got.
And I'm sorry, I know I was going, y'all.
Yeah. No, that's
y'all know
that,
I get.
No.
I'm like a preacher when it comes to black
Class was in
experience.
session. So
Yeah.
class was in session.
That was the entire intention.
Yeah.
to open it up to get this, because there's some other things, because and maybe this is a form for next year or 6 months from now, but I want to get into where we got some of our people at down in right below Jacksonville, Florida. I want to have that whole conversation.
Fort Mose.
I want
First black city founded in this country, and it was Spanish, was Florida. Anyways, we gonna get into that.
So
we can get into that.
Yeah. So but that's why, like I say, and that's why
the Seminoles, black Seminoles. But anyways, don't get me. Yeah.
But that's why you are so. That's why I feel that you are so important, not only to me, but to the community, but the world. People like you, y'all are, because y'all are rooted into that.
Mm-hmm.
And but I'm gonna go and get my little saying on out the way, so Larry can get his little saying out the way, so then we're gonna get on up here and get on out the way. This game called life is a series of moments.
Mm-hmm.
The past is just that, the past. Learn from it and be thankful for it. The future, prepare for it. It's coming. Let's get to the next one. The present, it is a gift. Enjoy the journey. Take plenty of pictures, but most importantly, thank God. What you got for me, El?
Expectations. Heard someone say that pressure will either make diamonds or bust pipes. And some days I don't know if I should be at the jewelry store or Home Depot. If I should have a plunger or a pickaxe, a microscope or a snake. If heavy is the head that wears the crown, perhaps it's time that I put the crown down and focus on me. Focus on the things that will bring clarity instead of confusion, because at the rate that I have been moving, this dam is sure to bust. And the pressure that will be released onto the unsuspecting valley will cause damage beyond comprehension, not to mention the many lives that will be lost. So here I stand with these two hands, trying to exhaust the plan to survive. Yet whether or not I provide a solution is the only thing that I can contrive. Deprived of my willingness to stay alive, I dive headfirst into the rushing waters, like a pig to slaughter, searching for our sons and daughters, in hopes that they might not be exposed to the horrors that I have seen. Sort of like an intervention of family who wants to keep you clean. But if I could set the scene, for far too long I have been trapped in the land of in-between, unable to move forward or backwards, unable to go up or down, just stuck in the now. So how can I truly be free when all I feel is captivity, and the lack of activity has caused my muscles to weaken? Where is my beacon of hope? Perhaps it has been choked, lost in the smoke that rises from the incoming fire. I too am losing my desire, so please do not exacerbate my ire, since the situation is getting dire, and before I can acquire the truth, I probably will expire. A higher purpose was my calling, but now too I am falling, cascading into the abyss, no longer able to resist the gravitational pull of the lunar eclipse. And I would be remiss if I failed to reminisce that all was predicted in my thesis. My journal spoke of the oncoming pain. And though I could not sustain, I wished to maintain my peace of sensibility. But my inability to hold back the oncoming flood has been paid for in blood, sweat, and tears, not to mention the loss of years. They too have caused me to wish for death, or at the bare minimum, wish for rest. My best days are long behind me, and maybe in time I will find that forgiveness will guide me. Confide in me all the secrets that I failed to protect, and my reward I will finally collect. But I suspect the effect of my failures will last generations. Alas, as we pass from our expectations.
Salute.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's time to clean the clippers, sweep the floor.
I got the bathroom.
You see how you trying to jump in there?
Cause you know he gonna say it anyway. So
Yeah, he got it last week. I'm trying to work this rotation thing.
Oh, you see how that is.
So we gonna get a chore chart. We gonna get a barbershop chore chart.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Sam and Lee, y'all got plenty of days.
Boy, soon they show up, every day they show up in bathroom day. Bathroom
Y'all
duty
got
day.
that together.
Every day they show
Yes,
up.
sir. Yes, sir. They got to put that together. Yes, sir. So Larry got the bathroom.
Yes, sir.
In the words of Rita Lawson's son, Odabo Jack,
Yes, sir.
the shop is closed.
Ashe.
We're talking randomly. Talking random. We're talking randomly. Talking random.